Hi folks, it's John from lastchanceautorestore.com. I'd like to share with you another update. This is the 1974 Volkswagen Super Beetle sedan. I apologize, our camera person, she is away and the weather outside is terrible, so we're kind of in tight quarters here, but just wanted to share with you there's been a lot of progress on this, this Super Beetle. So in a previous video we shared with you where we had the body on a dolly, and we had done quite a bit of work on the chassis with the suspension, shifter. We added sound deadener to the chassis. We did the seal that goes all around the chassis, and they refer to it as the body to chassis seal. And then since then there's been an amazing amount of progress, but it's been so noisy in the shop that we're kind of behind in videos. So we're going to kind of cram a lot in a short period of time just to share with you and the client who lives further away the progress. So you can see in the front, I guess first of all we should start with the fenders. All of the body work was done previously, and for those of you who are really familiar with the 74 Super Beetle, those fenders look quite different, and we've modified them quite a bit. So what we've done is you'll notice first of all the bumper hole in the front fender is not the big triangle anymore. It's now that slit to accept the cleaner or slimmer looking bumper bracket. And then the other thing we've done is we're not going to have the big, some people nickname it the boat style marker signal light on the top of the fender. So what we've done is we've filled those holes in. We've modified the fender for a newer look, because the client was going to have the upgraded halogen headlights with the yellow marker light in the very bottom of the headlight will have the signal light built in. So that's going to just give it a different look, or a cleaner look if you will. So you can see we've got the fenders fitted on. We've got that really nice, this is the higher quality fender welt. It's got the nice black beading that goes between the fender and the body. And then this is authentic Volkswagen colors, so we've got the real blue for 74, and then it's a Volkswagen cream white. And so with the fenders on, the fender welt is on, and then along the front they've done quite a bit of work. They've got the steering components installed. You can see you've got the column coming through here, and then your joints. We've got the master cylinder, or the fluid, I should say, for the brake fluid is here. You can see the McPherson struts obviously are bolted in, and then they've started to run the harness in the appropriate places where they need to go. We've got all new hardware where the body fastens to the chassis. And then as we come, this is the passenger side of the inner fender. You can see how nice that looks. We painted all inside and around. You've got the strut obviously attached. The hood release cable is coming along that side, the white cable, and then you've got the beginning of the setup for the gas tank neck, or fuel filler neck. So that's looking really nice. It's kind of a shame that that's all going to be covered. The big gas tank is going to go over top of that, but you can see the amount of detail and protection is going to be there. And speaking of detail, along this front nose, you'll see when we went to do the body work, we removed that latch for the hood. We drilled out the factory rivets, and then there's the inspection plate, or the Volkswagen plate, also in the front in that location in a Super Beetle. So we've went ahead and removed those, did all the body work, painted it as it should, and then we've cleaned and lubricated what needs to be done, and then there's new rivets to install that. So when you look at that, it looks like it's never been touched, and I don't think you'd ever know that it was not this color originally. And then as we kind of come down the side, you can see there's even more progress, because they've got the doors on, and we've started to do the glass. The back windows, he has the upgraded hinge style window. We don't have the seal going to the body yet, because we have the headliner on order, but we wanted to just set it in place just for the appearance to show our client who's far away. And then you can see with that two-tone, it's quite a nice effect, I think, because you've got that nice cream white with the blue, and then you've got that beautiful black piping to separate it. And then when we do the all of the other additions to it. You're going to see like the vent windows with the rubber, things like the antennas. It's brand new with the new gasket, and then we've got our wiper. We basically re-cleaned everything, so we have all the stuff installed underneath. There's new grommets that will be coming for those. And then when we come down the driver's side, we've got quite a bit of work done in here, and we've already got the dashboard in. So in a previous video, we didn't have obviously any of that in there. So now we've got the dash kind of set in place. All the wiring and ventilation, tubing, and all that stuff from in behind is already installed. And you can see our wiring harness is just kind of dangling there for now. But we want to get the dashboard kind of set up where it needs to be. And then you can see they're just starting to do like the window regulator. That's the passenger side door. So they've put the window winder in and regulator, so they're getting ready for the other components to put in there. And then as we kind of back up, sorry, it's just kind of tight with all of this stuff close by with the weather being so terrible. And as we come back here, you can see we have the little trim vents in there. And you can see the nice contrast I mentioned earlier with the blue and the chrome and the black. And then once that trim goes on there, and then the contrast with the back fenders, which are also installed with the fender welt, I think it looks pretty smart. And as I kind of back up and come to the rear section, you can see once again we've got the tail lights are installed. The wiring is run back to the tail lights. The fenders are adjusted and bolted in. So I'm just going to kind of back up here, and you can see the rear apron. If you notice the bottom of the fenders where they meet the rear apron, they meet perfectly. If you recall in previous or earlier videos, this was modified. They had a filler panel riveted over top of the apron, and it was a single tailpipe, where we have it all authentic again to accept the double tailpipes, or pea shooters as some people refer or nickname them. And then you'll notice the back, we've modified these rear fenders to match the front fenders. We're not going to use those really large bumpers. We're using the slimline style with the smaller brackets. So we've modified these rear fenders so they'll match the front, and we'll have the cleaner looking bumpers. You notice the engine lid is installed. We've got the Volkswagen insignia. We have the new gasket going between the license half moon, and they even have the latch installed. But on the inside, there's not much done yet. You can see that there's lots to go in there. We've got the headliner that's coming for it. So we're going to do sound deadener or sound insulation to the complete roof, and then we'll do the headliner, and then that's so we can do the seals in the sides and continue on with that. But lots and lots of progress on this 74 Beetle. And with the two-tone, as I mentioned earlier, and then we come down the passenger side. It's a little confined here, but you can see where they have the door handles installed on this side. So with the doors on, the fenders are on, and some of the trim, it's looking quite smart, and it's quite different than the last video when we just had the body sitting on the chassis. Or sorry, the body sitting on a dolly and the chassis on its own. So now you really see it coming together quite nicely. So this is slightly modified or slight improvements. We're going to do a front disc brake conversion kit with the two-tone paint, and changing the bumpers, just giving it kind of a fresher look, but still authentic. I think is kind of a nice move. And for a Super Beetle, these people aren't doing them as much, I don't think, as a standard Beetle. The standard Beetle has the solid beam in the front, where these are McPherson strut. So they're a little more difficult to work on, because when you separate the body from the chassis, the McPherson struts are bolted to it. So when you lift the body off, the struts just kind of want to flop around. So they're not as easy to work on as your standard Beetle would be. But we quite like these cars. This car is very important to our customer, so we want to make sure that we do the best job we can for him. So this will be a nice little video for him to see, because he lives further away. So it's coming along quite nicely. We've got a bunch of parts on order for it, so we're just kind of waiting for the headliner and a bunch of trim to come, and then we'll continue on. We've also ordered components for the engine. We're going to totally rebuild the engine, give it a little bit more attitude. So once again, this is the 1974 Volkswagen Super Beetle sedan, and I thank you for watching. I'm John from lastchanceautorestore.com.